Hello and welcome to the latest Books Crypto Club catch-up on Zoom. This is a weekly catch-up call that we have. We video it, we stick it onto YouTube. So if you enjoy this, then do subscribe, click on the like button, click on the little bell to get reminded when we produce anything else. Today, it's Sunday, 25th of April, 2021. Been lots of things happening in the crypto world, prices going up and down, tax announcements, various things, but who knows what we're going to talk about today. So we'll see who's going to join us. Hey there.
Hello, Gary. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. You're enjoying more of the sun today?
Absolutely, yeah. While it lasts.
Have you got a patio heater or something, though? Because whilst it's sunny out there, it's still pretty chilly.
It is a bit chilly, but it seems to be all the heat's reflecting behind me, and I'm fairly warm, to be honest. It's fine. There's a bit of a nice breeze at the moment, so hopefully the temperature will be fine over the next hour or so.
Well, we shall see. If you suddenly run away and go and put a jacket on, we'll understand.
Indeed, yeah. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Been a fascinating week looking at the crypto world with everything going up and down in price.
Yep. Volatility.
Yeah. Well, it comes down as well because people are saying, you know, why is there so much volatility at the moment? And is this a market crash and all this kind of stuff? And is it because of Biden's tax announcements or whatever? I keep saying I'm going to get an NFT produced, which is going to be a picture of a butterfly in the Amazon.
Right.
Flapping its wings. So that every time someone says, what caused this? I'll say, there you go. I'll just show you my NFT that says it.
It will just increase in value, I think, as every time people ask that question, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that'd be quite nice because the idea of an NFT is that when it gets sold, you can get a commission back to the originator.
Yeah.
Maybe I should do it that every time it gets invoked, I get a commission in some way.
That's like being paid a penny every time someone asks you something, right? You're actually turning that into a reality.
That'd be rather good, wouldn't it? So, how's life? How's your week been?
So far, so good. I mean, it's been manic. There's a couple of things. I mean, I'm preparing for a bit of a dip in the price. I think all the analysts that I follow and give any credence to are suggesting that that's what's going to happen over the next few days. But then I think once we finally correct down to some fairly bad levels, but it's just a correction, I think that's going to be the run up for this cycle, really. It sets us up for everything breaking all-time highs and then finally alt season kicking in at some point. So my biggest concern right now is making sure my leveraged positions survive the shock because because I did take some leveraged positions out at higher prices, but I've been scrambling to make sure those are liquid. On the group front, it's growing amazingly well. I've posted that we had the largest number of members join in one day. I think it was yesterday, really, St. George's Day, which is great, and there's more coming in. The quality of the members is going up. I have to decline fewer of them, but I expect we'll get the usual scammers and spammers coming in at the same time. And then on the work front, it's extremely busy. So, you know, Ziglu continues to strive forward. We launched Cardano. We listed Cardano on the platform. There will be more listings coming through on a very regular basis now. And I'm looking at 3 different things, which is internationalization, getting us into the European market, Ziglu as a service, so providing some capabilities for institutional customers to exchange assets using our platform.
Okay.
And the other one, I always forget what the third one is. It's terrible. Non-custodial wallet services. How can I forget? The number one thing that customers keep asking for is, can I get my own crypto? You know, when I buy it from Ziglu, can I transfer crypto back to my hardware wallet? Yes, I am working on it. We are a regulated entity, one of 3 in the UK with EMI and 5MLD, so it's difficult. But I think I have a solution now that hopefully we'll ratify internally in the next couple of weeks, and then we'll socialize it with the FCA and a few of our other stakeholders who are very interested in how we solve this problem from a regulated perspective. So yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Okay, excellent. So I guess tying in with that intention, then the obvious question that springs to mind is how you're dealing with your own banking facilities for Ziglu. Because I'm finding it a challenge all the time. Whenever I'm working with a client who's even looking at using crypto in some way, it can be quite difficult to actually get a bank to take them on board.
Yes.
So I guess you, at least with having the FCA regulation, you got some credibility.
Yeah.
But given the announcement by HSBC during the week that they don't want to go near crypto in any way whatsoever, how are you finding it with your bank?
Yeah, so right from the beginning, we knew there'll be some hostility or at least apprehension from the banks. You need to have a bank. There's no getting away from it if you're a regulated entity. We can't go fully decentralized and fully on the blockchain. That was never our intention anyway. But there are, I think the key thing is with the banks that are open to dealing with crypto asset businesses, they're looking for regulation, which we have. They're looking for 5MLD. The biggest problem, I think, for the banks is making sure that they're not participating in money laundering. And in the crypto asset sector, that's a big problem. At least it's perceived to be a big problem. I personally think it's a bigger problem in the fiat sector and will be for a long time, right? But the perception on the crypto asset side of the business is that we have to protect against that. And as a regulated entity, we have a strategy, we have the tools and the technology, and it's really a case of convincing our banking partners that we are credible in that space and have the right policies, procedures, and controls to ensure that we don't pass on any risk to them. Because they don't want to lose their banking license. We don't want to lose our licenses. We want to be a credible actor in this sector as well. So
I think that's sometimes the problem as well, that people in the crypto community think the banks are just being anti-crypto, whereas in actual fact, the banks are just being ultra cautious about the risk that trading in this space in any way exposes them to. And it's a lot of effort to go through the extra due diligence and that, which at the moment, for the market size, as much as crypto is growing and growing, it's tiny compared to traditional financial services. So actually getting a bank that's willing to invest the time and effort to then expose themselves to a harm in some way, I can kind of understand it. But it is frustrating trying to find a bank who'll actually speak to you about it.
So you're absolutely right. And I think what we're discovering is that we have to convince the banks that they're not taking that much of a risk. We're going to be the liable partner in this situation. And we're putting the controls in place, the necessary controls, to make sure that we can take on that risk. So there are banks that are open to it. There's even one or two UK banks that are surprisingly open to it. But our banking partners are in Europe, and we're looking as well wherever we can find banking partners for different regions that we want to expand to, where we can demonstrate to them that, hey, we have the necessary controls, and they're going to be better than or as good as any other institutional custodian service provider. And there's not much to worry about.
Okay, because I know certainly in Europe, it's typically been that there's a couple of banks in Liechtenstein, Estonia, and possibly one in Switzerland as well. But I'm yet to find a British registered bank that is truly crypto friendly.
There's one that I don't want to say the name of because they're a high street bank, but they've been more friendly than one would imagine. I don't think they've actually pushed the boat out 100% at the moment, and it's more a case of wait and see. And I think they've been waiting for this 5MLD regulation, actually, but I don't want to mention their name.
No, that's okay. I'll pick up that one with you separately offline. Because it's always an interesting one. I've got a particular client at the moment who's even more interesting because of the market they're dealing in, which is by its very nature has an exposure to money laundering risk, right. And so they're acutely sensitive to it already, but they're now delving into the idea of crypto as well. And when you deal with the region that they're dealing in, the product that they're dealing in, and you throw crypto in, and you can just see all the red flags just going bang, 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 bang. And it's very challenging indeed to find things. That's a conversation offline we'll have at some point.
Of course.
That'll be good. Okay, I'm not sure who else is going to be joining us today. I noticed we had, Howard was dialing in just then. He seems to have dropped off again. I know I had a couple of last minute notices to say they're not coming on. Are you coming along to the event I'm running tomorrow around crypto payments and that?
Yeah, that sounds really fascinating, and it's something that I definitely want to look at. So, I mean, one of the big problems is fiat rails into the crypto sector. I'm looking at this right now, and it's one of the hurdles that we have expanding into Europe as well. Because look, one of the things that we don't want to do necessarily, we have a payments gateway into FPS, and that's how sterling gets converted into crypto in our custodial wallet today. Every country that we go into in Europe that has a local currency, we have to solve that problem. For SEPA payments, we can use our existing provider to do that. And that should work well for Euro SEPA payments. But there's plenty of countries in Europe that have local currencies, the Scandics, for example, where that's difficult. And what it means for us is, okay, we have to find a payments gateway in every damn country that we want to expand into. Now, I have found some alternatives, but none of them are cheap. And they all have different problems associated with them, unfortunately. Okay. I'm trying to think, and I've been looking towards Latin America here around what are the alternatives to fiat gateways to crypto, or what has been done in this area. And I think MakerDAO and Binance, kind of combination of these peer-to-peer payments, these kinds of things, are a possible solution. They're quite complicated, and the interesting thing about the Latin American market is that you quickly find that crypto beginners are not crypto beginners for very long. And in fact, in the tech sector, the adoption of MakerDAO, for example, with all the hurdles that you have to jump in order to get paid by an employer in another currency, MakerDAO is like a stable coin. These, because they're tech savvy, they can deal with it, right? They jump through the hurdles. The early adopters are enthusiastic. But for ordinary members of the public in the crypto beginner space, these solutions aren't really viable, in my opinion, at this stage.
Have you looked at how they're cracking it in the Asian market then? Because that's very active on the crypto side of things.
I don't know, to be honest. And that's not an area that I've looked into how you get over. I mean, I remember in Burma, there was one chap who was who could take a wave money remittance and buy crypto with it. I know because I tested it out. We were wondering, what the hell is this thing? This guy's claiming he can turn Wave Money is it's the largest domestic remittance provider in Burma, and he was claiming that he could, you send a Wave Money P2P payment to him, and he'll send you crypto to your public address. And it's like, all right, I've got to test this one out because the poor guy could be in a lot of trouble. But no, it worked. It was slow as hell. It took about 8 hours for a small Bitcoin transaction, Wave Money kind of chat. It's the local currency chat transaction to be turned into Bitcoin, but it did work. And I think for most people, they would probably be okay with that. But yeah, I'd love to know what the solutions are. I've been dreaming up some crazy ones myself. This has been keeping me up. This is insomnia for me, because if you can crack how to get fiat payments for crypto without touching the legacy financial sector, with everything that comes with that, KYC, AML, all of that comes with, and the costs and all of the burden, if you can crack that problem, then you're in an amazing situation. So if you've got any suggestions, I'd love to know more about it.
Because I was thinking, because I know certainly Singapore, but there's a number of companies out there I know who are dealing in this kind of space, and they're very hot on AML, MLD, CTF, all that kind of stuff. And there's a couple out in Malaysia as well, one in the Philippines I know of. So yeah, I always think that the Far East is a market we keep overlooking as somewhere to learn from.
Yeah.
Because they could definitely have something on that. So yeah, okay. Well, if I hear of anything that I think might tie in some way, then I'll definitely get you on board there.
Hey guys.
Hey Bjorn. Hey there.
A bit late. I just finished up another meeting.
No problem. Hey, you got a
But
camera as well today.
yeah, of course. I had a Zoom meeting about the project, so I needed to get a camera indeed. I need to figure out though why it's on the headset and none of my speakers. How
Yeah.
does this work?
So you work that out for a minute, and then you can tell us about what's going on in crypto in the Netherlands.
The same as everywhere, blood in the streets and everything, and people are now, well, I see crypto is fake and fail, and last week it was, oh, we all need to buy crypto, and now it went down a bit, so now everybody go, oh, crypto is a cheat. But they did not realize it went up for like, I don't know, a few months, right?
But it's funny, isn't it? Because I think there's been some major price corrections the last week or so. And for some, it's dropped like 10, 20%, which means we've not seen these prices for, a month.
Yeah, no, correct. Yeah, but don't forget, it is the last month that most casual people jumped on board, right? So I think the first boost, and this is exactly what I mentioned last time, right? I mean, in all fairness, the whales in these markets are really smart, right? They know how to create the momentum. You see all these YouTube videos, and look, I saw videos of beautiful girls just going, blinking with their eyes and then saying a project name, and then, oh, it's so good. And that was it, right? And this is unfortunately what triggers people, right? And then so the whales start buying slowly, that you see the momentum coming up. Then you see these people that were in from 2017 starting promoting it with friends. Then you see these friends joining in with 500 or $1,000. The benefit is because of Corona, nobody could spend his money properly. So everybody has some savings. They all now jumped on board with $1,000, right? But just a lot of people. And then now these whales said, okay, cashing time.
Yeah. And I guess the other thing, particularly with the cash in time, is that is it a proposed suggestion by Biden about increasing the taxes quite significantly on crypto?
Oh, I haven't noticed that. Sorry, I didn't check that.
So he said something a couple of days ago, I think it was, and it's been all over the Twitter sphere, about increasing, I think it was the capital gains rate up to like 40%. Yeah, well, Hussein, you're nodding furiously at this. You probably know more.
It's the long-term capital gains, I believe, and it isn't 100%. So the expectation is once it gets confirmed, is we get another kick in the face. Yeah, increasing it from 20% to 40%, the long-term kind of. So typically in the US, you would hold your if you hold your capital gains for over a year, you only pay 20%. But he's going to increase that. Now that's the narrative. I can't look. The thing is, I'm at the end of the day, I kind of trust the charts. Show me the charts, and I'll tell you the news. I think I can't remember the actual saying, but I'm more of a technical analyst, and I think you will always find a narrative for the drop. But the reality is we were massively overbought, and a natural correction was expected by a lot of people. Now you can fit any narrative you like to that, and Biden's one is very convenient.
I think you're right. The number of times I've seen chartists who look at a chart and say afterwards what led to that peak or that drop. It's like, well, that's great. Now let's just prove this point by choosing an event in the future where we know a decision is going to be made about something. We'll use that as the point. Tell me, if they say answer A, what will the price do? And if they say answer B, what will the price do? And they all shirk off. So that's another thing. Anyway. Hey, Mark, good to join us. Hey there. Hey, and I get to say the traditional things of Mark, you're on mute.
That's the phrase of last year, isn't it?
I was going to say that is so 2020.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you very much. It's my first time here. I'm not sure so much kind of what you talk about, but I just...
don't worry, neither do we.
I got the notification on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have a real mix. It can vary between as few as 2 people and as many as 15, 20 people sometimes. We end up just talking about whatever the people in the call want to talk about. So you got Hussein, who's really knowledgeable with being the CTO of Ziglu, who are a crypto wallet provider. We've got Bjorn, who's over in the Netherlands. and does stuff that I'm sure he can explain as well. And I'm just a kind of a facilitator in some ways. So I just open these things up, and I just like chatting about what's in the news, or if anyone wants to understand something better. But because I set this group up locally originally, it was just helping provide a support network, really. So if you have any questions or anything, far away, if you've got anything of particular interest you want to talk about, just go for it.
Great. I've actually been following Ziglu's kind of progress, and if I can ask Hus, kind of what's Ziglu's USP, with regards to crypto? Okay, you can hold crypto now, you can exchange. You've got Revolut, you've got other banks that might, the neobanks could go into that. What can sustain Ziglu? I mean, what's special about Ziglu, and what will be special about it in the future?
Yeah, really good question, and one that we grapple with every day. It's essentially where we're going with this is if I buy, hold, sell, save, and spend fiat and cryptocurrency with parity. So one place for your crypto and fiat assets, one place to manage your money. It's not necessarily going to be a substitute for your daily banking facilities. It's not necessarily going to be a substitute for your exchange capabilities. But what it is going to be for the vast majority of ordinary people who are not characterized by being, let's say, technologists, cryptophiles, or in early adopters in the crypto sector, we're going for crypto beginners at this stage. And we want to give them managed access, curated access to digital, what's happening in the digital assets sector. So hopefully that's a reasonable explanation of where we go.
And just before we go any further, so just been joined by Anish Mohammed, who I describe as the guru of cryptography, not of cryptocurrency. So he knows what crypto really means. Say hello, Anish.
Hi, great to meet you all.
Hey, Anish.
Thank you for having me.
Are you in the UK at the moment, Anish, or are you back on the West
Yeah,
Coast?
yeah. I haven't left UK in the last year and 2 months. So
Okay.
yes, so it's the longest period in time I've been in the UK for a very long while.
Excellent. Okay. Well, if any of you ever want to know anything about cryptography, he is the man. Definitely. So, Mark, I see you had your hand up. You had another question, or are you just saying hello? It looks like the camera's on go slow now. So, Anish, we're talking about various things in the news that are going on in the crypto space at the moment. Apart from all the prices going up and down, and the SEC latest with Ripple and that kind of thing, I just wondered, are you still a technical advisor with Ripple?
No, I am not. I kind of I started October the 17th, 2013, and I kind of it was a very I didn't take any shares or anything, so it was a very informal thing in that sense. So SEC won't sue me. I don't own any shares.
Yep.
I had the email. I would go to the meetings. I would talk to Stefan. When Stefan stepped a step back, I kind of decided, because like Chris was there, I would talk to Chris and I would talk to Stefan. I mean, I was involved like really early on. Like I think they were just pre-seed when they had, when I joined them as an advisor. Okay. So it's like, my relationships was very limited to a few people who I really knew well. And there was a bunch of changes that happened, which resulted in me kind of, when there are large, how could I say, VCs who invest, and you probably know a lot of those things. So it's like it results in changes in product roadmaps and a lot of things, and then you kind of think, okay, what's the upside for? Yeah, I mean, this is going to be this. You're literally wasting your time talking to people because they can't make those decisions because the VCs who come in, who invest large amounts of money, have very different objectives to the founders, and founders get replaced. So yeah.
Well, I can see you've got a few nodding heads going on there. I guess, Thane, you must have some experience with going through like the startup process in some ways, how you end up pivoting and changing and that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, I had like 4 startups and 3 this happened. So yeah, that is VCs. they during the discussion phase, they always claim to share your vision. And then when you're rolling, then, well, things change. Yeah, they get different views on things. But I also don't see this as a really bad thing. If you know, in what, look, I'm really, my passion is in starting up and not in, you have two stages, making big and staying big. Both are just as complex.
Okay.
Yeah, in a company. And I like the starting more than the staying.
Yeah, I was about to say the staying big is a lot more politics than growing
Yeah,
big, right?
yeah,
And it's
yeah,
the kind of
100%.
people, the kind of people who are there. Staying big is like, this exercise. They have very good muscles. They're very good at this.
Well, I used to work at Atos, so
Yeah, I used to do the same. I used to work for Accenture and Cap, so I kind
and
of get the idea.
the colleagues they actually told me, Bjorn, you need a suit of Teflon. Everything should just slide off. It doesn't. What people do to you.
Ooh.
Look, if I at 5 o'clock I go home, I have my good salary and passion for the company.
Yeah,
I like my project, but it's not passion driven. It's different. Yeah, I have a Teflon suit.
So you guys are you finding the same with startups in the crypto space, that they're basically having the same problems that startups in any other space would have then?
Look, I did not start up in the crypto space yet, so I cannot say that the thing of all the bad things. Basically, what I'm now saying about this whole VC stuff, it sounds really bad, and the Teflon jacket sounds really bad, but you need that in this market. Okay. On the other end, in the crypto space, I think that some startups have been thrown a bag of money way too early.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, well, look, you make these movies, you make them public, so I need to watch my wording. But there were some projects where there was friends of mine actually involved from really big companies. Yeah, okay. You should think in back in the day, so ex PayPal, ex you name it.
Yeah.
Just because of their name, these companies got thrown a big bag of money, and this is now this was 2017. The money is even more now, I suppose, because it was back then Ethereum, and Ethereum went up quite a bit, but this project still doesn't do anything.
Okay.
Right.
So I guess that's not untypical of many of the ICO space. So okay, we'll move away from that a little bit. Then, Mark, what's your interest in crypto in particular then?
Yeah, I've been interested for a few years now, and I'm not so much of a tech person, but I'm interested in the general sort of the economics and the politics of crypto, the effect that it will have. But I mean, I've been learning some programming recently and just trying to brush up on my tech skills. But I love the sort of confluence of business and tech and economics for me. So it's just very interesting to see it play out. And just recently, I've been looking at metaverses, which is it's like a new area, and that's taken my interest. This weekend, I've just been reading about those.
Okay, can you share a bit more about metaverse then? What have you learned so far?
Yeah, I've been looking at Decentraland. I don't know how much you know about that. But,
I was about to add something to that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, because it's a continuum, because I wanted to connect this back to what they were talking about. Decentraland is an ICO project, and I happen to know some of the founders. And at that point in time, it was nothing, because it's like there was nothing of value in the VR space. There was, and don't get me wrong, ERC 721s have been around for a while. ERC 20, ERC 721, 725, all of those things were there in 2017, 2018. I mean, Fabian, forgot his surname. I've known him. He's the guy who proposed all these things. And it is interesting. What was missing was the infrastructure, right? And Decentraland is super interesting. Every bit of that place actually has an NFT attached to it. So they are massively, monetizing everything. And the thing I think was missing, at least in my head, James, correct me. Oh, Mark, correct me if I'm wrong. I think the market making mechanism, I mean, the reason I said this was like because you said you are interested in economics, and I kind of do the thing that's halfway house between all these things. So I do protocol design. So if I put my hand up, I could probably say I have worked on at least 400 top 100 protocols. I mean, this is public knowledge. You can find those out. So my typical thing is the intersection of where cryptography meets game theory meets economics in that sense. Okay, we call it cryptoeconomics, but slightly more than that. But that heavily influences your protocol design. And what literally was missing, it was an incentive mechanism where you could actually do the speculation. So the DeFi mechanism literally opened that. So DEXs was non-existent when decentralized opened up. Hold on one second, somebody's just knocking my door.
So there you go, Mark. You've suddenly got someone who's quite an expert in this space.
I'm sorry, I'm on a call. Yeah.
I've been looking at the various metaverse.
Apologies, guys, I'm back. Yeah.
Another one.
Yeah, somebody wanted to campaign to me about elections. What the hell? I told him I'm on a call.
Tell him you're on a DAO.
Sorry?
Tell him you're on a DAO, not you're on a call.
Oh, yeah, I should say that. Yeah. I'm on a DAO, yes.
So you were saying about Decentraland, Anish.
Yeah. So I was saying the thing that was missing and this is the whole continuum of things that happen. ICOs, a lot of them had no real use cases. And some of them actually built some of the infrastructure and they were waiting. And one of the real things that was missing was there was no value or not really no value. There was no liquidity in the DEXs or decentralized exchanges. And decentralized exchanges, you probably might have, people including me have said this thing. Like at points in time, we had less than 1% of the total volume at any point in time. And because of all the mechanics that were involved, we saw no hope in hell. But now what has happened is decentralized exchanges really took off. So there's a massive liquidity. And literally NFTs actually have a bridge to the world where they can get some value. And that really changed it. So the whole concept of metaverse has really taken off because you have this AR, VR interface, and then you have this ability to monetize, then you have access to the market. And I think, in many ways, NFTs opened up conversion of illiquid assets into liquid assets. So you have a secondary market. So I could just say, okay, I'm writing this notepad and I'm going to create an NFT for this. And Gary might, it is worth $10 because he thinks I'm a smart guy. And Mark might say he's an idiot. I'm going to give him 10 cents, right? So then the market decides what the value would be. And then the NFT goes there and it actually fills to everybody, right? So as the NFT creator, I get some value and the DEX is run by Hussein. He gets a small value over there. And like, John, how do you pronounce his name? Sorry, John. Yeah. Okay. So if he were the one who's actually running the curation market in that sense, he makes some money as well. So everybody wins. But overall, I think we really need to unlock the real high value assets in the traditional market to really have NFTs really take off. Once that happens, this game is over. Sorry, I should be quiet now.
I think I was saying to someone on a call a couple of days ago, I see NFTs as basically now doing what we've tried to get blockchains to do for several years.
Yes.
It's the proper way of providing origination, authenticity, traceability, and that kind of thing. So that's good. So Bjorn, I think you're going to add something there.
Yeah, I wanted to say this. Decentraland, is it so, because I mentioned it the last call as well. Is it something similar to what SecondLife was?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. So difference was the following, right? So I know both founders. So I've actually met. He's even okay. If you were to compare the two founders, the SecondLife founder is more awesome in every way, shape, and form.
Yeah, he was pretty.
Yes. It's like I spent like 4 hours. Talk to him. The other person, I spent a bit, and I was kind of bored. Sorry, right? So I kind of decided it's what it is. But the thing to understand is like if SecondLife actually did integration to NFTs, it will blow metaverses out of everywhere, like in no time. So this is what I was about to say. Okay, imagine if you are the guys behind what's the 3D engine called? VR engine, real
tournament.
Real engine. Now they have 3 things. Okay, number 1, Have you seen their web interface? You can actually have human, human avatars. Yeah, which is like super awesome. Can you imagine if you integrate that with AR, VR, convert that into a metaverse scenario, integrate that NFTs, the story is gone. I mean, in a way, if that happened at the start of COVID, they would have had a massive growth. Unfortunately, it's what it is.
Yeah, but still, I think there is, and we discussed this last week as well, there is opportunity for something like this. Imagine also once AR gets involved, right? Then by that time, you have your average Netflix movie, right? What we now see in the movies, that will be real life. If it's good or bad, I leave it in the middle for now. I mean, I'm coming to an age that I don't adapt to stuff as easy as I did 20 years ago.
Yeah, I have enough of VR headset here. I have 3 on the floor.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't have any AR yet. But the thing I was about to say was, like, I don't foresee a lot of heavy AR VR happening in the next 18 months because of the chip problem, silica problem, right? I mean, I have external GPUs. I have a bunch of GPUs flying around. I mean, lying around. But you can't go to the market and buy a 3080 or a 3090 or a 3070. I mean, NVIDIA ones, right? You can't even for ridiculous amounts of money, right? So this has resulted in a real bottleneck for people. Yes, there's Oculus from Facebook. That's the Oculus Quest. I have one of them, but that's.
Have you ever looked at the project, also a crypto project about 3 years ago called Lucid, I think. They were all talking about glasses.
Is that Lucid?
Is
that Lucid?
I think
Lucid.
Lucid, right? I don't know how they.
I'm not so sure. I mean, I've looked at a lot of projects. It's like I tracked 400 projects for like 18 months, and my conclusion was 99% of the projects are going to be going to zero. I said 95 less than X less than 99 point something. I looked at the numbers and put the numbers. It's public. It's out there. So I can't be droid now. Yeah, and a lot of them, pretty much all of them, went to zero.
Anish, I was going to say, Anish and Beyond, you probably remind me of something, because Hussein and I were chatting about something earlier on, and I just wondered, going back to SecondLife, where you had Linden coins, which effectively were a form of cryptocurrency kind of thing. I was just wondering how they've dealt with the bridge between fiat and Linden coins.
It was easy, right? It was easy for them. The thing is, it's a peg currency in a loose sense of speaking, right? They don't have this problem. Okay, let me rephrase this, and everybody says this to everybody else. And I want to, make some statement about facts. No cryptocurrency or no crypto economic system is isolated from real world it is isolated from the real world until the day you have an exchange. An exchange is a bridge between the real world and the arbitrary world, right? Imaginary world. And the other reason why we all got F-starred was because if you have a proof of work, there is a market out there where you go to the money market and look for the arbitrage you can gain for buying hardware and plugging it into the network, and then look at the gain. It's like a European call option, right? So you buy the hardware, put it in. I mean, even I have hardware lying on the floor. So I have a D9 over here, right? Okay, there you go. That's an AND D9 for you. Okay. So like this is useless. You can actually do dang on somebody, but other than that, it's completely useless.
Personal defense.
Personal defense, yes. Other than that, it's useless. So what literally had happened is this happened to crypto, and people who are like hardcore maximalists ignore this. And this was prevented because Linden actually completely took care of it, and they stabilized it, and they acted like a government in that sense. They did the conversion, they did all those things. And if you remove that, and effectively there is a misaligned incentives, right? So the people who started, this is the story about exchanges. The people who started mining wanted to get liquidity. To get liquidity, they need to have an exchange. And if you look at the history of most exchanges, I would say 80 to 90% of exchanges, the founders are miners, right? So you can only imagine what the incentive was, right? I mean, I'm not saying that they're not doing a good thing. I'm happy that I have exchanges, so I have some ability to liquidate small amounts of whatever I have, right? But in general, this is the problem. And so we need to really understand, like, when you create an ecosystem, and if you create gatekeepers and bridges who have misaligned incentives, then the people who are caught in this pool will have interesting challenges, unless we become very, very big. Because the effect of this guy, yeah.
Also, a lot of exchanges started with games where they wanted to exchange stuff, right? There was, so we have, of course, the best example is SecondLife. And also you saw how the government was pushing it because there was already exactly the same, or pressuring it. It had exactly the same issues as crypto because a lot of illegal money was moved from left to right and was not traceable. But even in Minecraft, there was stuff where you could earn money.
All MMORPGs. Actually, I wrote a paper like going back now 15 years ago. The paper was called Final Fantasy Secure Gaming. Because around that time, a guy was killed for stealing a sword from one of the MMORPGs. Remember that one, right? So I wrote this paper saying, because hacking became an economic activity. Because there's a crypto, and this is how I say, like, there are lots of things that we could learn from past, and you could actually put to a crypto system and say, guys, this is what is happening, or girls, this is what is happening. But people get sorry.
No, continue.
No, I was just saying, like, Mark was kind of, alluding to this in that sense, that like there are a lot of people who claim, they try mix a whole bunch of things and call it cryptoeconomics, and then, try BS, and then, the BS doesn't work in real world. And anybody who follows the BS, I know of projects who got really into trouble because of they believe, look, there's a difference between people who could talk and they could actually write things and who could actually do stuff, as in like real stuff versus BS stuff, right? So I think the biggest problem we have in the crypto space is like people don't use Bayesian decision-making process, right? When I made that Bayesian, it's like you look at the prior and you know what the probability is for the next event to happen. So if you look at the Bayesian, you will have a much better priors. You'll be able to get a very good data. I mean, like you could do like a Markov model and say, like, the Markov model will be very simple. I wake up, I have a tea coffee machine in my room, and when I wake up the first day is 50-50 probability. First day I go for tea, so the machine knows that there's a higher than half a probability that I'll go for tea. I do that enough of times, then the machine gets to a steady state, but it knows like this is the probability that the person who is in this place is going to wake up and ask for tea. And this is a steady state for a Markov model. The same applies to most probability distributions in that sense. So if you look at crypto and look at projects and look at what people have done, look at the data. This is the thing that most people seem to be completely missing. Everybody who has done anything, there is telltale of data flying around all the place, right? You can't ever delete that thing, right? So it's so easy to find fraudsters, and I still find a largest amount of signal to noise ratio problem in blockchain, which is the irony of ironies.
Well, I found it funny. It comes back to the whole principle of blockchain providing an immutable ledger and all this kind of thing. I had one of these classic things over the last few days of somebody approaching me over WhatsApp. I was like, "Hi, Gary. Hi. Where are you from? I'm from the UK. Blah blah. Where are you from?" You just know they're about to try and sell you a Bitcoin mining plan or something like that. And good enough, this person didn't, and they're trying to build a social type thing. And they made no mention of crypto after a while, so they're clearly quite good at this. And then eventually they said, "Oh yeah, I'm working with my uncle in Philippines or wherever, and he's made a load of money out of this new crypto."
Of course.
Did you know anything about crypto? It's like, no, I don't know anything.
No.
And they gave me the crypto coin name, and I checked it on Etherscan because you can, and it was a total of 11 transactions. And so I pinged this person a note back and said, "Oh, that's kind of interesting. So you think you've made loads of money out of this, do you? You tried liquidating any of it, cashing it in? Oh, we don't need to because we've been told it's going to go up hundreds, blah, blah, blah." I said, "You realize there's only been 11 transactions. How do you know that?" Well, because if you look at it, it's an ERC20 smart contract on the Ethereum blockchain.
Look at it.
I haven't heard from them since.
You should write a blog post, Gary. you know, you know, I get calls from various people.
So
and
it was so. It was
yeah.
I think your connection is breaking up, Gary. Or is it only for me?
No, I think he's frozen for a bit now.
Yeah, pretty with a lovely smile, by the way.
I don't know if that's you or that's me.
No, that was
It's all gone very,
now
very
you're
poor
back.
quality.
We can hear you. We can hear you now,
Yeah,
but we
I
can't
think
see you.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, yes, we can see you now.
but your bandwidth is low, Zoom actually tells us. At least tells me.
You know, he's doing too many projects,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, exactly. He's mining in the background. Yeah. he's hacking our Zoom now to mine even a few Satoshi more.
No, even better. He's doing generalized mining. He's actually doing storage mining for IPFS. That's the reason.
Yeah, and I'm storing it on your PCs.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I will dig for it later and find a few Satoshi here and there, I hope.
What was the thing that happened in South America? There was in a Starbucks, wasn't it? That some hacker had hacked the Starbucks Wi-Fi, so that anyone who went into the store and went onto the Wi-Fi, it then started using their laptops to mine. I think it was Zcash or Monero.
But that was a while ago, right?
Yeah.
No, you hear all these stories. Actually, there was. It is quite disturbing what is possible. There was a documentary I think 2 weeks ago here on Dutch television. How easy it is to buy ghosts, for example, and mine with their PCs. Right, and what I think is really smart is that these guys now are smart enough to not take full control, but just a small percentage of your PC, so you don't even notice. Right, it is a disturbing. Is it disturbing? Is it not? Yeah, I think it is disturbing how easy it is to buy PCs nowadays.
Oh yeah, I mean, this was essentially the same thing for a long while. I don't know if you've seen. This is a PhD thesis. It's converted into a book. You can Moti Young and Adam Young. So I think it's Adam Young's PhD thesis, and it's called crypto virology. It gives you, like, this is going back more than 20 years ago. So I did my master's thesis on attacks on elliptic curves using distributed computing. So I did some math on the crypto side, elliptic curve side, looked at the optimizations, and I looked on the computing side. So this was like the template for me. This is an awesome thing. So this has been around for a while. Average people don't look at things like this, but you know, the guys who want to make money, they are definitely reading papers.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I see Lavinia's joined us. Good evening, Lavinia.
Huh? Oh.
One camera.
Oh, I don't know how to turn it around.
This is technology for you.
Well, the old-fashioned way, you just turn it like with your hand. That's an option.
There
is a small button somewhere on the.
I know, but where is it? This is the question. Anyway, here I am. And there you are. Hi, everyone.
Hey, good evening, Livia. At least that wasn't an embarrassing one. I had a call a couple of months ago on Microsoft Teams, and one of the features I didn't realize about Teams is that sometimes the image it shows you is not from the camera that it's broadcasting. So I actually had it where I was on a meeting with a group of people, and they eventually commented how interesting my socks looked. And and it's because it was the back camera, like yours is at the moment, was doing it, but you couldn't actually see it was broadcasting the wrong image. So,
wow, that's interesting. I mean, there have been a few very interesting episodes on Zoom. I'm sure you see.
Oh yeah,
I know. You know, like, have you ever do you remember the program Candid Camera? Or like when they I am very sure someone's gonna come out with a show where they've got people to send, like, you know, silly moments on Zoom to show the whole world different things that people did embarrassingly on Zoom, so to speak. And, you know, they pay them for the videos, right? The home videos. So it's going to be the same thing with Zoom, but.
Hey, maybe we can get embarrassing moments NFTs. On Zoom and NFT them.
I was thinking exactly the same
that's
thing.
Awesome. Gary, that's an awesome idea. Sorry, I'm just kidding.
I've copyrighted it, folks. Just
no, yes.
Anyway, Lavinia,
There we go. Yeah.
Yay!
Hello.
Hey
Hi there.
guys!
You're not old enough to know Candy Camera anyway, so I presume it's your grandparents told you about it.
I'm 44, love. I'm old enough.
Oh, wow, okay. You're holding the years up well then.
Well, I could make a certain comment, but I won't. Oh
Sure.
gosh.
So have you found the crypto world this week, Linnea? Been busy? You had another good Women in Blockchain talk a couple of nights ago. That was really great.
I did. That was on Wednesday, and then we've just did a networking event. So we're doing a monthly networking. It's pure networking. So similar to what you're doing, I suppose, but it's on Air Meet. So we're around a table and talking just about the different things. And it was really actually good. Like I could see people got value from it, and that's the main thing, right? You just want people to get value. But I mean, the crypto blockchain space, what a ride. I mean, Bitcoin has gone below 50, which pisses me off because it dropped and I bought some Bitcoin at 55 thinking, okay, it's a dip. And then it's gone down even further. I'm like, mother flower. And then, of course, we heard about the Turkish guy running off with 2 billion from his exchange, which is just a complete and utter piss take. It's like, why do people do that? And then Turkey.
Well, he had 2 billion reasons, right?
Why? How can they is a question.
Exactly.
Right? Like,
how?
Yeah, it's like the thing is, no, not how. It's it's like the structures that are there are completely failing. We had Mount Gox, right? When Mount Gox happened, I thought everybody understood how this could happen. There was a bunch of papers published. Dan Bonnet published a bunch of papers, and in the banks we have, we've had banks for a very long time. I mean, we have converted to digital. We have mechanisms in place, and to my largest surprise, to this day, one of the things I am surprised is how low crypto community considers security. I mean, I'm sorry to put it that way, but I'm shocked by I've spent 20 years of my life doing security and cryptography, being paid, okay, and I did like probably 5 years before that, right? Maybe I don't know, so slightly more, okay. So to me, I put the hat on and I have a tinfoil hat and I think of it that way, and I go, wow. If there is money there, it is going to attract the kind of interesting people. The interesting people, as we were describing just before Lavina was joining, they are building expertise. You go to the open market and, let's put it this way, a postdoc in the UK makes less money than most likely the person who's a guard, right? I'm not kidding, all right? When I was doing my PhD, I know what my PhD office mates, when they finished, they went and got, right? So they are like pretty good people who know what the hell they're doing. And these people are good hires. They probably don't really care about how it's all done. And they are told, oh, you're doing research, right? And they will really do a cutting edge research. And then they could actually point this at, whatever they want to. And that will result in very interesting outcomes. And we don't see the crypto community putting money where their mouth is, right? That's the bit
Anish, you should not forget it does not fit in an Instagram post. So you need a book or a whole paper. I mean, that's like pages. I mean, it's not a YouTube movie. It's not an Instagram post or not a Twitter feed. So that's scaring me. Yeah, sorry.
Can I just pick up on that? What was really interesting, that was what was being said about how we're getting these rogue actors coming in and that. And Hussein, from your point of view, because as you say, Ziglu at the moment is a non-custodial wallet. How do you ensure that everyone's got the confidence that the Ziglu team's not going to kind of run away at some point, apart from being FCA registered? Which doesn't actually mean that much.
100%, right? I mean, this is the thing that keeps me awake every night. And let's be clear, the biggest threat is internal bad actors. It's me, Mark, or Niall, our CFO, deciding to run off with the money. It's not some clever external scam that requires quantum computing. That's bullshit. It's basically someone who's disgruntled in the organization that has more access and privileges than they should have. It's basically it's poor security policy. You're not.
You could contain that with mechanisms that are pre-existing. Like you can do N out of K. If you have 3 people if you do 2 out of 3, at least 2 of you should collude. So at least one party on their own won't be able to do it. Right?
Yeah,
So
multi-party keys, breaking all of
yes.
that up, making sure that there are controls in terms of access, having an audit log, absolutely everything that everyone does.
Yeah.
And then the alerting, monitoring, and metering. Like the other day, for example, we added a new transfer address, new address to one of our exchanges. Boom, the lights went off. I was really pleased with the reaction from the whole team. It's because we don't tell people, we don't necessarily ask for approval to do something, right?
Okay.
The system that we have in place is you go ahead and do what you want to do, and I want to see the lights come on, and I want to see what the reaction is to that. So when our CFO created a new whitelisted address on one of our exchanges, all the alarms went off, and I was really pleased that suddenly we're all on top of him saying, like, what's going on? We have a 48-hour gap between the request to the exchange to whitelist the address. So, people can pick up the phone, 3 of us can pick up the phone to the exchange and say, this was not approved, make sure that the address isn't whitelisted. So we've got those procedures in place. Look, I've come from a banking background. I've been at Deutsche Bank for 6 years. I was at Bax for 6 years before that. And I think, you're right. In the crypto community, especially when you're in the decentralized or non-custodial wallet space, someone can just walk off.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to see if I can remember some of this for the event I'm running tomorrow, which is exactly around handling cryptocurrencies and not just the outsider threat, but insider threat as well. Yeah.
But my thing is okay. These bad actors have done what they've done, but now the response from the Turkish government is to say they're not going to allow people to accept crypto. And the Turkish people have been using crypto because of the value and the drop of value in lira. It just doesn't have. So what do the people do? You're being told that you can't use an alternative, and the government thinks it's protecting its people, but it's kind of being a big brother and draconian in its response to these bad actors, because the lira isn't worth as much. So,
well, it wasn't that the thing the Turkish government did, is the central bank. Because funnily enough, Hussein and I were talking exactly about that decision at last week's call. In fact, I even included the press release about it in the video I did to Hussein. The Turkish central bank announced that you couldn't use crypto assets as payments. That's all it was. But they didn't say they were illegal or anything. They're basically trying to prevent you using them as e-money.
I mean, literally, this was the thing that everybody who was in the crypto space recognized like 20 years ago. So 20 years ago, I had my first paid job working for Ericsson SP. And they had a research lab. They wanted to do micropayment systems. So essentially, I know you're going to laugh your head off, because we had signature scheme on a browser 20 years ago. And you can imagine, how awkward that would have been, right? And everybody was really concerned that the governments are going to jump in, because there's going to be like a lot of value being accrued, and the monetary policies of countries are going to be impacted. Now we've reached a point where crypto can actually have impact on the monetary policies of countries. And that's why in Venezuela, they ban it. You have around 2 trillion worth of crypto assets that are there. It's kind of the same, in the same order of magnitude, the total amount of US dollar that's in circulation, real money in that sense. So you could actually do a swap in that sense, and that really implies you can make things happen. And if CBDCs turn up and we consider CBDCs as real money, this game is all gone. It's like the traditional mechanisms by which central governments and central banks could actually control money and economy is going to be like, the feedback loop has to be so fast. Like typically, just to give you an idea, so we had a demonetization happen in India. It took a few months or years to really understand the impact of demonetization on the economy, right? Whereas you do that on crypto, you will know that instantaneously on the markets, on the exchanges, like bang. So, and the speed at which you need to respond becomes really different. And I don't think any of the governments in the world are prepared for this kind of a change. So we will see.
That's going to be a really good topic for a conversation, right? At some point, maybe I'll organise something on that. I'm conscious of the time that we're coming up to 6 o'clock, and I usually close this off at 6 o'clock so it doesn't overrun. So I was going to quickly say, does anyone have any immediate pressing questions about anything that has come along tonight to ask about?
I just wanted to add.
I do.
Oh, sorry. No, continue, Adina.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to understand a bit more about the Bitcoin that's been in the news, but we don't necessarily have to talk about it now. But if you've written anything, Gary, or can send me anything.
It's just the work that HM Treasury has now set up a working group to work with the Bank of England and the FCA and a couple of others, I think, to explore a central bank digital currency. Bank of England's been working on it for ages.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
But can we get involved? Can we, someone like you and me, get involved? Can we get involved?
Potentially. I mean, I've certainly been in on a few of the calls with the Bank of England. So I would imagine there'll be a consultation phase or something. I'll see what I can find out. I'll share the details with you. Okay, right.
The only thing, sorry, Gary, what I wanted to add is that because of the thing, what just was asked, like how can people do this? I think that Bitcoin or crypto and blockchain in general has been marketed too much as, oh, it's ultra safe because it can follow the books, and that everybody thinks it's super safe, but nobody thinks about the owners or the people that run it or the custodians. And in the end, that can only be solved by policies like banks have in place. And even with banks, money is being stolen in the background still, and things like that. In the past, I was very heavily involved in mobile payments. And back then, there was still a lot of money stolen from credit card fraud by I don't know what you call them, the swiping, where you put the paper and then choo-choo. And we had arguments with banks that they didn't want to go in mobile payments because it was only 20% more secure than the old-fashioned way and not 100% secure. So, but I mean, the policies behind exchanges, behind projects should also be, publicized in white papers actually, but nobody has that. Like, who has the keys? Right? In a bunch of projects, it's just one guy that has the keys, that has it on his home PC, where his wife basically and his friends is just walking in when he is accessing his computer, and his password is test123.
So I'm going to throw in. I'm going to have to close this off now, but I am going to say, for anyone who's interested in that, do come and join me on the webinar tomorrow, where we're going to be talking about cryptocurrencies, custody, and that kind of thing. A nice little advert.
Okay, cool. If you post a link, would be nice.
Yeah, no problem. I'll share the link with you on that. But thank you everyone for coming along this evening. Great chat. Hope you've all enjoyed it. Hope
it was nice.
to see all of you again.
Nice.
Have a good evening.
Thanks.
Okay,
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.